Hello everyone, welcome to my Nature Diaries. If you watched my last video, then you will have known that I finished my second nature journal, or as I like to call it, Nature Diary. I thought I would share with you in this video how I'm going to set up this third Strathmore watercolor journal, and just some tips and also some ideas for you that you might want to include in your own journal. Whether you're just starting your first nature journal or maybe you've been doing it for quite a while, hopefully some of these ideas will inspire you. So let's get started. My first tip is look for inspiration. Having some kind of plan before you start your nature journal really can be a huge help. I'm looking at my very first nature journal. I love that border I had. This border is a little bit too wide, so I'm just looking through and I realize how much I love this layout. This little white border and yellow ochre background really sets off the whole layout. Look on Instagram, and you can also look at Pinterest for some really great ideas for inspiration as well. Finding elements that you want to include in your whole nature journal can really help to unify it and make it feel like it's more complete. This leads me to my next tip, which is to choose a manageable size journal. Hands down, my favorite size for my nature journals are 8.5 by 5.5 inches. This portrait orientation sketchbook is one I use all the time outdoors. It's also by Strathmore, and the paper is very good actually. And as you can see, I have it set up and it looks much different than my studio journal that I'm going to be working on next. Choosing a sketchbook that is manageable is going to help you want to create. I made a whole video on this and I'll have that linked in the upper right hand corner. Instead of painting a layout here, I'm going to, number 3, add a title page. I've been wanting to add a title page to my nature journals for quite a while now, and I'm not even sure why I didn't do it before, except for the fact that I think I didn't want to do it because it took up a page of watercolor paper. However, I'm going to add a title page to this particular journal. I really believe that it's going to maybe elevate it and just make it look more like a completed book in itself. Taking inspiration from my previous journals, I am marking off that white border with washi tape. Then I'm going to be using this yellow ochre to add a vintagey antique type of feeling to this new journal. I would love to hear from you and to know whether or not you have added a title page to your nature journal or any of your art journals. Make sure you use any kind of white marker. You can use acrylic, gouache, white gouache if you need to clean up those edges or borders. I normally hand letter all of my journals. However, I'm wanting to use these stamps again that I recently purchased. They have a bit of a typewriter kind of typeface. I really like the look of them. If you're not super confident with your handwriting, this is a super great way to add a beautiful title page, and you don't have to even think about your handwriting. I do highly recommend that you draw out the lines that are going to be the guides for all your letter stamps. It did require some time and even a little bit of math, but I would highly recommend it, that it's definitely worth the effort. When using these silicone type stamps, there is a bit of a learning curve, so you will want to make sure you can practice before you put anything that's permanent in your nature journal. I also recommend that you buy 2 sets of these letter alphabets so that you have extra vowels especially. Now is the time to embellish, and this is going to bring me to my next tip, which is use decorative stamps. This is another great tip if you are just beginning and maybe you don't feel super comfortable with your drawing skills. Using these stamps that I got at the dollar store for $1.25, it's a perfect solution to be able to embellish and add art without feeling the stress of, I don't want to mess up the front page. I'm choosing my stamps carefully to make sure they are representing what is actually going to be in this nature journal, such as plants and flowers and of course birds. Ultimately, what you want to put on your title page is entirely up to you. The value of a title page is that it's a presentation to the viewer of all the beautiful art they're going to encounter inside your journal. Number 5 is make a table of contents. This is yet another one of those ideas that I've been wanting to add to my nature journals. In my mind, this completely transforms the use of this nature journal and makes it multifunctional. How, you might ask? It's pretty simple. It takes it from just being a nice art book or sketchbook, and now it can become a field guide that is useful and helpful for you, as well as for whomever reads it. This is going to create super easy access to our journals. By having a table of contents, I'll be able to look at the first couple pages to see what it is that I'm looking for quickly instead of having to flip through the whole journal. I just have decided that I want to make these journals something that other people can use besides myself, and maybe be able to use them as a local field guide. While we certainly don't have to add these to our nature journals, they do add a nice element. I'm going to count each of 2 pages as one layout, so I'm going to have 23 lines here, and you'll see me fill this in as I go ahead and complete this journal. Adding some finishing touches, I'm not going to do much else to it until I start filling it in, because I want to make sure I have enough space to write in all the information that I feel like I need for each layout in the journal. For my next tip, I'm going all the way to the end of the watercolor journal for this last page, and you're going to see what I'm going to set up next, and that is I'm going to add a key. This key will be using symbols that will designate information at a glance. I've already been doing it with some of my previous layouts and adding these symbols, and I love how it looks and adds so much to the painting. To keep my nature journal cohesive, I'm adding the same exact background as you can see with the paint, and also the same with the stamps. A key could be as sophisticated and detailed as you would like, or you can start out with something simplistic, just like what you're going to be seeing here. Here are most of the stamps that I'm going to be using as symbols, and you might again have recognized those from previous paintings and layouts that I've done. I'm just working out where I want to put each stamp so that it looks good, while also leaving some space in case I do want to add a few more stamps later on. Once again, I'm adding lines using a ruler, just a few lines to be able to write down the information that I want these stamps and symbols to indicate when you are looking at a particular layout. There are so many different types of keys that you can add to your particular nature journal, including ones about the weather and terrain. It just really depends on what you want to record and what you're interested in. The beauty of a stamp is that every single time you use it, it's going to be consistent, and that will be something that your viewer will notice when they look through your journal. I'm also making sure that when I put a stamp in, I'm not going to paint it. I'm going to leave it black and white. That way it will stand out on its own and won't look like it's part of a particular painting or like I'm adding decorative elements. Using these stamps as a key is a great way to give instant information to your viewer. I am so glad you're still here with me, and if you are, please subscribe, like, comment, share the video. And also, you can join me over on my Instagram at my_Nature Diaries. I'd love to hear from you if anything was inspiring, and remember, you're amazing and creative.